What's going on, guys? Aaron Mortis here for a different type of vlog. Still have to make the next Walking Dead Dead City review vlog. But in the meantime, got something really cool in the mail that I don't know how many people are really talking about it. Because it kind of slipped under the radar. I found it from like a random Twitter thread a few months ago when I realized that this was actually coming out. And as the title insinuates, it's a follow-up to a Nickelodeon television show that aired for 3 seasons from 2004 to 2007, Danny Phantom, which was a staple animated television show, along with Avatar The Last Airbender, that defined, for me, my early storytelling interests, along with all of the different video games that I was playing and that I've mentioned on the channel before, such as Jak and Daxter. That connects to the Evan Wells video that I made the other day. But Danny Phantom never got the love that Avatar got, because now Avatar, they got the Legend of Korra spinoff, and now they've got like a million things coming out. They got a live action movie. They've got an animated series of the adults when they're older. Apparently there's like maybe a Kyoshi spinoff. Like I see news everywhere now. And it was almost like they were testing when they put Avatar on Netflix a few years ago. They were testing the waters, like, hey, this is an old series. Let's see if like anyone's actually interested in this becoming more. And it, blew up in popularity for ease of access. And now it's not just, these stuck in their ways shit corporate executives at Nickelodeon that let all of these shows really fall into the abyss. And there's other shows that I've enjoyed over the years that the same thing happened to. Classic 90s shows like Hey Arnold, Cat Dog, even some of like the live action ones like Drake and Josh, Ned's Declassified. Like these are all shows when I was in middle school I grew up with. And they had these like, they were great when they ran, but they only ran really like 2-3 seasons, and then they were just gone. And they were almost like these thought experiments, and they were successful, but it was like, nah, let's just keep churning out new ones. Like that was, instead of like trying to refine and make the existing ones that were popular better, the theory for some stupid reason was to just keep making new ones and new ones and new ones. It didn't make any sense to me. Obviously the network tanked. The introduction of streaming and, businesses like Blockbuster going out of business. Obviously, there was a shift in the industry that they couldn't have predicted. I understand that, but at the same time, the corporate executives at Nickelodeon did no favors to any of these shows. Hell, the first season of Legend of Korra wrapped up on a terrible note because they only thought they were getting one season. So they had to wrap everything up in 12 episodes, and it felt like it was a complete, just like a one-season thing. And then they're like, oh, we actually get a couple more seasons. Then I remember in season 3, they started taking the episodes off of the air, off of the cable air, and they were only available on the Nickelodeon website. Like they were completely fucking with Mike and Brian, the way their show, like I remember they had to make a clips episode. It was season 4, episode 8 of Legend of Korra. They had to make a clips episode so that they could continue their contract for their remaining episodes. And I remember they had like this whole, you can look it up. I remember they had a statement they released about how fucking ridiculous it was and just how ridiculous Nickelodeon was. So they are terrible at sponsoring content for some of their flagship shows. I don't know. I mean, it seems like it's Paramount Plus, and it's like the streaming executives now. Like it seems like it's Paramount Plus, because some of the revivals of shows like iCarly, and there's a freaking Zoe 101 movie that came out. We're starting to see these old shows get revivals, like whether it's a movie or it's a brand new TV show. And that's coming from more of the streaming executives. Like now that the cable TV stuff is just so dead, like now you have these executives who are taking more of the initiative and driving the production. Now, for this particular project, I don't know who drove the production of it. I don't know if Butch Hartman, the creator of Fairly Odd Parents, Danny Phantom, in this case, Danny Phantom, I don't know if he's involved with this. I couldn't really find his name in the inside cover, but if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, this is Danny Phantom, A Glitch in Time. It is a direct sequel to the events of the season finale or the series finale, the season 3 finale, the series finale, which for I don't know how many people, even if you're searching this video, you probably know all you know all of the events of Danny Phantom. But the show ends, spoilers, I guess. I mean, it's been out since 2007, but it ends really just with the show wrapped up. Vlad Plasmius, Danny's main arch rival, loses. They save the Earth from the Disasteroid, which was like an asteroid from the Ghost Zone that they had to make the Earth intangible. Was like that was the big plot point. And then it kind of just has like a happily ever after ending. Sam and Danny get together, and then it's just like, it's just a very like, okay, like they needed to wrap it up. Some people were questionable about it because there were some arcs and some characters that, could have been fleshed out more. Mainly with Valerie and Danielle, like you could have done much more with their characters, especially because in the second to last episode, Valerie finally discovers Plasmius' secret identity, and they didn't really do anything after with that. It just goes directly into the finale, which was very disappointing. So this is a graphic novel, and it's got some very, not to spoil too much, but it's got some very like intricate designs here, and even the back cover, which I'll read to you. This is the back cover, by the way, featuring Valerie in her newest suit, and also Jazz, the sister. So it says, Danny Phantom embarks on a new adventure that spans time and space. After saving the world from the apocalyptic Disasteroid, which I was just mentioning, half human and half ghost Danny Phantom is finally recognized as a fearless superhero. But when Danny and his friends Tucker, Foley, and Sam Manson start experiencing time glitches that hurl them throughout history, Danny's arch nemesis Vlad Masters come to them with a dire news. Dark Danny, Danny's older evil future self, has escaped from Clockwork's prison. Danny Phantom must unite friends and foes to thwart Dark Danny's sinister plot. Can they make it back to Amity Park before Dark Phantom's evil future self destroys their world? And then the author, Gabriella Epstein, tells this action-packed chapter in the Danny Phantom saga, taking Danny and his friends on an adventure that will unlock the secrets of the Ghost Zone. I need a sip of water after that one. So, as you probably noticed, this motherfucker. Okay, I have like a list of like top villains. For anyone who's followed my Walking Dead content, Negan is one of my favorite just characters in general. Not even just including The Walking Dead. As a villain, fucking love him. I also really like Dr. Nefarious from the Ratchet and Clank series. If you haven't played that video game series, he's like the iconic villain, starting with the third game and then just all throughout. And then this guy, Danny's evil future self from 10 years in the future. There was one of my favorite animated. It was an hour long. It was called The Ultimate Enemy. It came out in 2005, and it was dark. This show is PG. I think Y7 when you like watch it on TV. But like, and I'm not sure for people who have seen it. Again, I'm assuming if you're watching this video that you're, informed on all things with the show and the plot. But the fact that they like opened that episode in 10 years in the future, and it literally looks like the Capital Wasteland from Fallout. It is just an apocalypse. And to find out that it's caused by our hero, but our hero devoid of emotion, devoid of feeling. It's just such a, it's just raw. Like just the emotion, like it's just the fact that this is an unfeeling, because you get a lot of cliche in cartoons, especially Nickelodeon. You get a lot of cliche villains like I will conquer the world, and you get a lot of people who are just solely very cartoonish villainy, like the sitting in the chair, twirling the mustache types of villains. But this guy is just pure evil. Like there's the insinuation that he's killed hundreds upon thousands of people, leveled cities, destroyed. Like there was a few scenes in The Ultimate Enemy where he's destroying tanks, attacking cops, and again, this is our hero. Like if it was just some like other evil guy that we have to take down, it's like okay, but like the fact that this person used to be Danny, like the moral, righteous hero that has had a progressive run up until that point of stopping villains and stuff. We find out how he was formed, that he is the, his humanity was ripped out of him by these like ghost gauntlets, and he fused with Vlad Plasmius's ghost self, and then the evil was just, it was just a ghost entity that just wanted to dominate and destroy and conquer and kill. And it just doesn't, like, his goal really is obvious. The first is in the time episode of The Ultimate Enemy is to make sure that his timeline progresses so that he still exists. And then also it's just to cause chaos. Like, every scene he's in, it's just to fuck shit up and cause chaos. And I think that's what I loved about it, because it's like the fact that, like, they were saying, like, yeah, like, if, Danny was losing certain pieces of himself, this is what he would do. And it's just like, man, it's just a wild concept. And it's so creative for a kid's show. I mean, this is a kid's show. It came out in 2005. I was in middle school. I was in 5th grade when this came out. And as being a creative person, and I started really getting into writing in 6th grade. But the concept of something like this, with time travel, I was already into the time travel concept from Jack 2, which I mentioned from all the Naughty Dog stuff. And so the fact that, like, this, they thought of this concept and it was that creative for a kid's show blew my mind. Like, it was a very adult episode for a show that was aimed at kids. It was a dark as fuck, because I mean, like, his family, spoilers, but his family dies in this timeline. A restaurant, the Nasty Burger, a fast food restaurant, like these oil grill machines explode. Like, it's a accidental explosion that burns them all, like his family, his parents, Jazz, Tucker, and Sam, and then the teacher, Mr. Lancer, burns them alive. And then Danny is so depressed that he has Vlad Plasmius, do this operation that basically turns him psychotic. Like, it's the story is messed up, man. And I just, like, again, it was so creative. And by the end of that episode, he loses, and they capture him in the Fenton thermos. And so, but there's a teaser scene at the end of that episode where, like, he's trying to get out, and then he laughs, and the episode ends, and it's like, oh, is he going to escape? Like, there was so much, like, tension of, ooh, like, maybe this could happen. I don't know. But they never go back to it. He's only in that one episode. I remember every episode of season 3. I was just like, oh, please bring him back. Please bring him back. And they never did. And then they had the finale with the Disasteroid, and then that was it. That was it. They had one more episode with Clockwork where Danny messed up the past with his parents, but that was it. Like, they never went back to it, which was just so disappointing and so sad. But this is the sequel. Since 2005, this is the sequel. And again, I don't know if this is canon. See, like, I don't know if anyone maybe can fill me in on this. Like, is this canon? If you open up the opening cover, it says Nickelodeon, Amulet Books, New York. There's an ISBN number. It has Viacom. Based on the TV series created by Butch Hartman. Amulet Books. See, I'm reading, and then she dedicates it to, she says, to Emily and Ben, thank you for being fun. And to my parents, thank you for going to Burger King for a week straight in 2006 to get all the Danny Phantom toys. But so, there's a copyright here by Viacom through Nickelodeon. I just don't know, like, is this canon? Is this authentic? Because I won't spoil this story. You guys should buy it. But Dark Danny escapes, as you heard from the little blurb cover behind the scenes. And we have a lot of the returning characters. We have Clockwork, obviously, that comes back. Vlad Plasmius comes back. And it wraps up. It's almost a second series finale because it wraps up so many character arcs. It wraps up, Dark Danny escaping. It wraps up. It gives some it gives a more justified ending to Vlad Plasmius rather than just being a space exile after the events of the disasteroid. You know, it was a good completionist story, and I'm reading this thing, and I'm like, this could be animated. Like, the way the storyboard happens, like, the way the transitions happen, in the way it's drawn, I was like, this, I could see it. I could see the story happening before me. And, you know, it makes me sad that, you know, I don't know, like, there's, with all these shows getting revived, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, there's a potential that this Danny Phantom could come back. People pester Butch Hartman for it all the time. I don't know if he really is the decision. It's more Nickelodeon, so they, and then I don't know if they maybe strike a deal through Paramount Plus or some bullshit like that. I don't know. I mean, the ramifications behind the scenes, it's too messy to kind of really know for sure. But, you know, this, it reads nicely. Now, there are some pieces of dialogue that are repetitive from things that characters said in past episodes. Like, they were almost verbatim taken from, like, some episodes, like some Tucker-isms or Sam-isms or Vlad-isms. There were some things where I'm like, okay, I heard that exact line in an episode before, but there's still some creativity here. There is. And, you know, I was trying to get the voices in my head, because, like, Clockwork's voice actor, David Carradine, who passed away, Eric Roberts, who had an iconic role in The Dark Knight, played Dark Danny. Like, there were some iconic voice actors who did these characters, and I'm, like, trying to hear their voices in my head as I'm reading this. So it's a really interesting combination. So, yeah, I would really love to see this get animated, and I'm advocating for you guys to, how many pages is this? I mean, it's a pretty substantial, like, 170, it's almost 200 pages long. It's a great read. I mean, just for collectionism, like, there's some comic books for The Walking Dead I purchased. Boughten's not a word. I've purchased. And this is like just a good collector's item. And this, if you purchase this, I imagine this would show interest in the franchise, in something. I don't know if someone from fucking Nickelodeon or Viacom is gonna take notice. But there was something with Avatar that jump-started and ignited somebody behind the scenes to say, hey, there's a lot of interest. Let's go after it. Because the concept of Danny Phantom was always so interesting to me. You know, it's very Stranger Things-like, but the ghosts have superpowers like Marvel. It's almost like the combination of Marvel. If Marvel and Stranger Things had a kid, it would be Danny Phantom. But let's keep in mind that Danny Phantom came out in 2004, way before Stranger Things did. Marvel existed, but not the whole cinematic universe that we know it as. That really started in 2008 with Iron Man, I think. I'm pretty sure. But so this is such a unique series. It's an underrated show that's a gold mine waiting to happen. I've always had interest, you know, if I had the money through my own creative works to just buy out this series from Nickelodeon and make a live action movie, just do something. Like, I think there's potential here, untapped, and this book only, it confirms it even more for me, that there's something here. So, Danny Phantom, A Glitch in Time, I enjoyed it. I'm not going to talk about the whole plot in this review. I gave some review about it. The fact that, you know, there's some dialogue taken from past things. It reads like a show. The art is really well done. Again, I don't want to spoil some of it. I'm just encouraging you to buy it. And it does justice to so many characters. It gives Dark Danny finally, like, his second appearance outside of the Ultimate Enemy episode. It's great. It's holistic. I advocate for it 100%. So, hopefully they turn it into a show one day and, like, revive it. I'd be there for it. I don't know how many of the voice actors. I mean, I know David Carradine passed away, but I don't know how many of the other voice actors. Martin Mull. I think Martin Mull still does voice acting, who played Vlad Plasmius. I don't recall, but I'd have to look into that. So, anyway, thank you guys. This was a unique video. I completely forgot I bought this. I bought this months ago, and then it showed up in the mail yesterday, and I'm like, holy shit, gotta jump into this. So, it basically transformed me into a kid from 2005 when I was, like, obsessed with the show. Loved it. It was on par with Avatar, in my opinion, you know? So, that's controversial. Maybe that's a vlog for another day. Avatar versus Danny Phantom. So, alright guys, thank you so much. And I totally advocate, go out and buy Danny Phantom, A Glitch in Time, the graphic novel by Gabriella Epstein. Alright, thanks guys.